All right, if you're tackling Edexcel business, you are in exactly the right place. We are going to dive deep into marketing objectives and strategy. My goal is to break it all down, piece by piece, so you walk away with the clarity and, most importantly, the confidence you need to absolutely ace your exams.
So, here's our game plan for today. We're starting with the why. What are marketing objectives all about? Then we'll follow a product's journey with the product lifecycle and see how big companies juggle all their different products using the Boston Matrix. After that, we get into the nitty-gritty how, with different marketing strategies and the all-important customer loyalty. And to wrap it all up, we'll put our new knowledge to the test with some real exam practice.
You know, every single thing a marketing department does needs to have a purpose. And that purpose is defined by its objectives. Seriously, without clear goals, marketing is just, well, it's just making noise. To really get what this means, let's jump straight into a case study of a business that's at a real crossroads.
Let's talk about Carandor. They're a big holiday company based in Chile. Now, for a long time, their Patagonia cruise was a huge moneymaker, super profitable. But now, now they're facing a pretty steep drop in sales. And this is a classic problem businesses run into. The real question is, what do you do about it?
And just look at this data. I mean, it tells a very clear story, doesn't it? Sales hit their peak in 2012, over 13,000 trips sold. But fast forward to 2017, and they've cratered, falling by more than half to just over 6,000. A drop like that isn't just a blip on the radar. It is a massive red flag that your product is in some serious trouble.
So faced with this pretty scary decline, Carandor had a choice, and they made a really bold one. Instead of just pulling the plug, they decided to invest a whopping 9,000 million Chilean pesos to give the cruise a complete makeover and relaunch it. And this huge investment wasn't just a shot in the dark, it was all tied to a new, very specific goal. Get sales up to 15,000 by 2020. And that big goal was then broken down into 3 crystal clear marketing objectives. Number 1, steal some market share from their competitors. 2, get more revenue coming in. And 3, rebuild the brand's image to make it exciting again.
Now that decline that Carandor saw, it wasn't just random bad luck. It's actually a super predictable pattern that pretty much every product follows. It's called the product life cycle. And if you want to be a great marketer, you absolutely have to understand this cycle inside and out.
This graph right here is one of the most fundamental models in all of marketing. It basically maps out a product's entire journey. It starts with development, where you're spending money but not making any. Then comes the introduction, where sales slowly start to pick up. After that, you hit growth, and sales really take off. Then comes maturity, where things peak and start to level off. And finally, you have decline, which is exactly where Carandor's cruise found itself.
But here's the cool part. Decline isn't a death sentence. Smart businesses can fight it off using what we call extension strategies. And the Volkswagen Golf GTI is the textbook example of this. Just look at the timeline. Right when one model was about to hit that maturity plateau, boom, VW would launch a new version, maybe with slick new styling, better safety, or more powerful engine. Every single relaunch basically reset the clock and pushed the product right back into a new growth phase, keeping it alive and popular for decades. It's brilliant, really.
Okay, so the product life cycle is perfect for looking at one product. But what about huge companies that are juggling dozens or even hundreds of products at the same time? That whole collection of products is called a product portfolio. And to manage it well, we need a special tool to think strategically. And that tool is the Boston Matrix. What it does is classify every single product in the portfolio using 2 really important variables. First, is the market for that product growing quickly or slowly? And second, what's the product's market share compared to its biggest rival? By plotting all their products on this grid, a business gets a super clear picture of where to invest their money, what to maintain, and what to cut loose.
Let's quickly break down these 4 boxes. Stars have a big slice of a fast-growing pie. They're great, but need constant investment to stay on top. Cash cows are your reliable moneymakers. They have a high share of a slow-growing market, so they generate a ton of cash without needing much investment. Question marks, sometimes called problem children, are tricky. They're in a high-growth market but have a low share. They could become stars, or they could fail. And finally, you have dogs. Low share, low growth. They're usually not going anywhere good.
Okay, let's make this real. Imagine a company. Their main product, Cheesy Bix, is a star. Their cash cow is an older product called Frappers. It just keeps bringing in money. Now, the smart strategy is to take the cash from Frappers and pour it into their question mark, Cheesy Snaps, to try and turn it into the next big star. And while all that's happening, they've got to figure out what to do with Crackles, their dog, which is probably just draining their resources. See how it works?
So, once a business has its objectives locked in and it's analyzed its portfolio, it needs a real plan of attack. That's where marketing strategies come in. And at the absolute heart of any strategy is something called the marketing mix, which you've probably heard of as the 4 Ps. Let's check it out.
So here's a crucial rule of marketing. Your strategy has to fit your target market. Think about it. The way you market to the masses is totally different from how you market to a tiny, specialized niche. For a mass market product, like a can of Coke, the product is standard, the price is competitive, the promotion is massive, like on TV, and the place is, well, everywhere. But for a niche product, like a super high-end restaurant, the product is unique, the price can be very high, the promotion is targeted, and the place is exclusive. Every single one of those 4 Ps, product, price, promotion, and place, is completely different.
Your strategy also changes depending on who you're selling to: consumers, which is B2C, or other businesses, which is B2B. And in the world of B2B marketing, there's been a huge shift. The old-school outbound way was all about pushing messages at people. Think cold calls and spammy emails. But the modern inbound method is all about pulling customers in by creating genuinely useful content like blogs and ebooks. It's about building trust, and honestly, it usually gets you much better leads.
No matter what your market is or what strategy you use, the real goal of marketing isn't just to make one sale. It's to build customer loyalty, to create a relationship that keeps people coming back again and again. So how do businesses actually do that?
Building loyalty isn't a one-and-done thing. It's a process. It means you got to have great communication, provide amazing customer service, and give people real incentives, like loyalty cards or reward points. But it's also about the small things that make customers feel special. Using their name, maybe sending a birthday message, or offering them exclusive perks. All these little things add up to build a really strong relationship.
And why is this so important? Well, get this. In one survey of high-earning consumers in mainland China, a massive 72% of them said they were engaged members of loyalty programs. That just proves that when you do them right, these programs are incredibly powerful tools for keeping your best customers happy and spending.
Okay, we've gone through all the key theories. Now it's time to put it all into practice. Because knowing the theory is one thing, but applying it under exam pressure is the real skill. So let's work through a case study together.
So here's the scenario. We've got Enchay Grasmeyers, a Dutch company. They sell top-quality ride-on lawnmowers, so they operate in a niche market. Their main product, which brings in 80% of their cash, has hit the maturity stage. Sales are flat. And to make things worse, they're starting to worry about huge companies like Honda muscling in on their turf. They need a new plan, and fast.
All right, let's look at the first 2 questions. Part A is a pure knowledge check. Just define the marketing mix. Part B is about application. You need to explain why having a specific objective would actually help this company. Why don't you pause for a second and think about how you'd structure your answers for these.
Okay, for Part A, to get full marks, you can't just list the 4 Ps. You have to briefly explain that product, price, place, and promotion are the tools a business uses to influence customer demand. For Part B, the key is to link it directly to Enchay. For example, a clear objective gives them direction. Should they develop a new model? That's a product decision. Or try advertising in a new place, a promotion decision. An objective also lets them measure if their plan is working, and it gives the whole team something to aim for.
And now for the 6-mark analysis question. What are 2 possible extension strategies Enchay could use? Think back to that VW Golf example. You could talk about changing the product itself, or maybe finding new ways to promote it to attract a whole new set of customers.
So, as you think about your answer, just remember that all these concepts we've talked about are connected. For Enchay, maybe one strategy is to develop a new high-tech robotic mower. That's a major change to the product. Or another strategy could be to start advertising in exclusive magazines for people with huge country estates. That's a change in promotion. So, based on everything we've just covered, what specific, well-justified strategies would you recommend to make sure that Enchay doesn't just survive, but thrives? That's the kind of thinking that gets top marks.